Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be working on the GX470. This is a 2008 and it has the original TPMS sensors for the tire pressure. And with them being 16 years old, all the batteries are pretty much done and dead on them right now. So I've got the TPMS light on the dash. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be programming new Pacific sensors. These come in the Denso replacement boxes, but they're actually the OEM Pacific sensor that came from the factory on this vehicle. In addition, in order to program these, we're using the launch tool. This is an OBD diagnostic tool for Toyota and Lexus vehicles, as well as others, that lets you access all the factory OEM features like customizations and TPMS and key programming. So in today's video, we'll go over using this to program these sensors, so stay tuned. So the sensors that we're going to be programming on the GX today, these are these Pacific sensors right here. They're actually sold as Densos, and that's the part number right here. So this one is a part number that's going to fit probably 90% of the Toyotas from the mid 2000s up until the mid 2010s. And pretty much most of these until they switch away from Pacific to the newer brand. I think TRW, I think that's the newer manufacturer that makes some of the ones for Toyota. But for most Lexuses, it's going to be this sensor right here. So this one's actually been superseded. The old one was 107J. Now these are the C11As, the PMW C11A right there. So you're gonna make sure that you get these. If you look at these, I just ordered these right here. So these all have a 2024 date code right there. I'm assuming that last two numbers are the year. So for sure, we know these are pretty new and up to date. So one of the things I noticed different about these, other than the design, they're a little bit more compact than the original ones. The backside here, it's got a clear silicone potting that covers it up. The old ones used to have the same white potting. You couldn't see through it, but it also had a little cover plate on the back. I figured they didn't really need that, so they got rid of it from the manufacturing process here. So right here, you can see it side by side. This is an original one that I pulled out of the spare tire. On the back side, you can see the part number on here. So this one's going to say the PMW 107J, which is the old part number that these came with, and they've been superseded like I explained over there. The difference is on the back side there. This one has got the cover. The silicone potting and everything is still the same underneath, but they just don't have this cover here. Everything else is pretty much the same. The valves are all still the same. The nuts and everything that it comes with is exactly the same nuts that are on here. And one of the things that comes with all the sensors had this warning right here. Basically, it tells you that you need to actually trigger these things once you put them all together, and then you also need to register them. They tell you basically you have to use a tool to program all these codes to your vehicles for it to work, because that's what a lot of people don't know. That's the process for Toyota and Lexus, and they think they could just install these without writing all the numbers down or taking a picture of the numbers without programming. So you got to remember to do that. One thing you want to do, like I did, I wrote down all the numbers on the new ones, as well as take a picture of all of them so I know. The numbers you're looking for are this 7-digit number right here above that barcode. So those are the numbers right there that you're going to need, and those are the ones that you're going to program into your vehicle. For Lexus and Toyota, you don't have to worry about what position they're in as long as they're programmed. If you have a vehicle that only has 4 tires and no spare, that 5th one, all I've ever done was enter all zeros for that number, and it never had an issue. If you don't want to program your spare tire, then you go ahead and just leave it blank. For the GX, I figured for 35 bucks, I might as well just get them all in there in case I ever change that tire on that spare tire. So I'll continue and just go ahead and register all these to the vehicle by basically overriding the ones that are in there now, because I'm taking them out. If your vehicle has a second set for winter use, you could go ahead and just program it to the second set. Just remember to hit the switch to switch between the two so you don't get the warning light or chase and troubleshoot something that's so simple as switching the switch over from primary to secondary sets. Before we put these new sensors into the tires, we're going to go ahead and program all the codes right here into the TPMS ECU of the car. So we'll let this thing load. If you haven't watched my previous videos on using all the features of this device, go ahead and check that out. But this is a very affordable tool that will help you do a lot of diagnostics and settings on your Lexus vehicles and your Toyota vehicles, as well as other vehicles. So we'll go ahead and load this thing up and let everything load and get into the options for programming the TPMS sensors. This thing, if you guys are interested in it, check out the links down in the description. it'll link you to Amazon or eBay where you can get this. They offer two versions of this, one in landscape mode like the one I'm using now, which is a little bit more expensive, and one in portrait mode, which is a cheaper option. The only difference is it doesn't have a battery. The screen is about the same, just different orientation. Takes a little bit to load everything up, but once it loads up you can pretty much do everything. So you want to go in here into vehicle customization, and then you're gonna find the different options to programming keys, TPMS, and all that. So here's the various settings that you can change here. So it looks like I have to go to utilities. Once we get into here, you can see there's a TPMS reset and then an ID registration. So once you go into here, it'll go through the wizard of telling you exactly what you need to do. So we want to proceed. And then on here, we're just going to go ahead and overwrite the main set. But if you have a winter and a summer set, you can set a second set. So the TPMS switch between primary and second set is right here under the dash. So you can just push it here to kind of switch between the two. So once we get in here, we'll go ahead and just overwrite the main set since my original ones are all burnt out and out of batteries. So we want to go ahead and start the registration. So we want to have 5 minutes to input all 5 of these. So I want to go ahead and you can select, we have 5 tires including the spare, nothing in here right now, so we'll go ahead and start inputting it. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to save the spare for last right here, so I'm going to go ahead and into the first one. Before we confirm, you go ahead and just scroll through to make sure all the numbers are correct. Once we confirm all 5 are correct, we hit OK. And then it's going to go ahead and end the session. And we're pretty much done, so we'll hit OK. Since we're in here, you can see there's a menu for immobilizer and keys, and you can do the remotes as well as your transponders with this device. So again, if you guys need this, check out the links down in the description. So to verify what was in here or what's programmed or what's existing, we go in here and look at all the different ECUs and modules on here. So right now I'll go to the body, and then in here I'll look for the, looks like there's not in here, so let me check the other module. So chassis, so on the chassis we have the TPMS right there, and then we go into here, and then we could go read the data streams, which is going to read the current. As we scroll down the data stream, you could go check the registered IDs. So all 5 of them that are in here, you can hit you can go ahead and check those, hit OK. And then it'll pull up the codes that we have stored into here. Again, we want to check to make sure that these are the ones that we have. So it looks like it all matches from what I can tell. So as far as the stuff that it reads or it picks up, I had already put the spare one in the spare tire initially, and we could see the voltage, the temperature, and the pressure by selecting those things on the live stream. And once we click into there, it will show that our battery voltage is over, which is a new battery. The temperature is 66 degrees Fahrenheit. We got 34.5. So we pretty much have this thing recording that data there. So once we put the other 4 in here, we should be getting the same information. As I had showed on my spare tire video, where I did it as a standalone video, what I did was use a breaker bar or a pry bar and a piece of wood, and I used the weight of the vehicle to kind of press down and break the bead. Once you break that one spot on the bead, you could pretty much press it all the way around and access the sensor. So we go ahead and just step on this thing, get to that sensor, take it out, and then swap it with the new one. So I'm gonna go ahead and just finish this all the way around, and we'll go ahead and time lapse through all that. All right, we started back up and it was blinking for a little bit, but then once it read it all, the light turned off. So I'm gonna plug up the launch tool to see what the readings are and make sure everything is programmed in there and showing up. So it looks like everything's reading properly. Battery temperature, all the pressures match what I put on there on the gauge. The spare tire that I've had back there is at 34, so everything looks good. So I just want to reinitialize this. So I did a little bit more research, and it looks like the GX470 doesn't have an initiation button. It just has a preset lower limit, and if you go into here, it looks like it's around 26.25. If you look at the initiation switch right here, it says info without. That must mean that this doesn't have it, and then the switch is off right now. But the lower limit they said is 26.25 right there, PSI. So that's what it goes by. So you can't set the set point on this like some of the newer vehicles or on the IS. Hey guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video on programming those TPMS to the GX470. As you can see, I'm a little bit cheap and I didn't want to pay someone to dismount and put these sensors in. So we kind of did it our ghetto homemade way, but it worked. I was able to get all the sensors in and get everything programmed. So everything is working properly now and I'm getting no lights and I get my TPMS back for at least another 10 years on here. If you guys found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to your channel, go ahead and subscribe to your channel, turn on bell notifications, get notified every time I upload a video for all these different projects, whether it's on the GX, the IS, the Sienna, or whatever I'm doing around the garage or the house. If I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching and I'll talk to you guys next time.